can't stop looking at it, right? Is this a good-looking boat or what? She's racy. Really, really nice teak deck. This boat was beautifully manufactured. I love that. That's very cool. It's pretty cozy. How clever is that, huh? I like this a lot. This offers a lot of opportunity. It's pretty darn sweet. Hi there, this is Capt Q and my old sailing buddy Randy. Join us as we travel hither and yon as we look for some great deals on classic boats and learn a little with each one.
Hey, Captain.
Yeah, Randy, hey, what do you want?
Where are you heading?
Oh, I'm heading over here, but you know, I gotta tell you, when you buy a new car and you polish it up and you take it out and you park it somewhere, you can't stop looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm kind of the same feeling about the boat we're gonna look at today. This is a 1975 Baltic sloop designed by the CNC Design Group. And it was really the first series of boats that Baltic came out with. But just take a look while I'm standing here.
Okay.
And you'll see what I mean. I mean, is this a good-looking boat or what? Ooh. She's just cool. She's racy. They were built by the Baltic company, which started up in around 1974 by 5 fellows, including a fellow named G.P. Johansson. And G.P. Johansson was a kind of a lead man at Nautor. And those guys at Nautor decided that they wanted to do some different things. They left the building and went down the street a little ways, found another building, another place to start building Baltics. And they got lined up with the CNC Design Group and ended up having CNC design a 33, a 37, a 46, and a 51, and they also designed a 42. This is one of the first designs that came off their board and out of their building. And they had a little different philosophy about how they wanted to build boats. They were very interested in speed. This particular boat we're looking at today is kind of close to me and has an ounce of sadness in it because she was originally owned by a man named Jack King. We were good friends down there. We actually were involved with a joint venture to start a new yacht club down in Spa Creek in Annapolis, Maryland. And we both ended up going our separate ways. I went to Maine, and Jack ended up buying more boats. So he bought this one after I left. Jack owned this actual hull.
Oh, wow.
And the boat was called Mary Thought. Jack was really a wonderful character. He always had a big smile on his face, a good fellow, well met, and sadly gone over the bar. He raced the heck out of this boat, and I think you're going to see when we get on board that she has been raced hard and put away wet a few times. This is back in the day when you had multiple head sails, multiple spinnakers, bloopers, staysails, all sorts of bags of sails, which are still actually on or available on this particular boat. The thing about Baltic boats, they came up with all sorts of ideas to how to cut back on weight. Well, we're looking down at her bottom right now. When they laid her up, they put in a clear gel coat. Okay?
Okay.
So they had a clear gel coat in the mold, and then on top of the gel coat, they put the balsa. And the balsa core goes up to I think just the boot top, and then it's solid glass after that. But the reason for that was back then they were having problems with blistering on boats on the polyester resins, and but when they added color to the gel, it created voids of sorts, microscopic voids in the gel coat that allowed those bubbles to take place. And I'm looking at this hull right now. This boat is 47 years old. There's an extra layer of paint on here, but all in all, this bottom is pretty smooth, and we would not touch this if we were going to launch it today. It's pretty darn sweet.
So it's solid glass above the boot top?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That gave you impact strength, and it gave you insulation down here. This is classic CNC design, what it calls sort of a shark fin keel. Swept back, and a long run back to the spade rudder aft. You can see this design in the 39, and they actually started with it on the CNC 35, same design, and took it all the way up to the CNC 61, which was a magnificent boat. It was a special one called Sorcery that knocked the world dead when she came out. She was so big and just so fast. How many through hulls do you see right now?
Oh, very few. Yeah. I'm jealous.
Yeah, this is minimal. I have 2 holes back here, and I'm inclined to believe that they may be in the way of the head, and they're just total. I mean, you just can't even feel them there.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's one just at the bottom of the bilge up in the.
Oh, you spotted one? Is that?
Also flush.
Okay, I have no idea what that might be. We'll have to take a look when we go inside. What do you think?
Yeah.
This is the evolution of the rudders. They used to have, originally when CNC were building boats, they came out with this sort of, they called it a scimitar rudder. It had a funny shape that came down and kind of swooped like this, and then had a flat end. This is a pretty smooth flowing coming back. There's not much to disturb the water here.
No skeg.
And no skeg, no. And one thing here is that they went to aluminum. So this is an aluminum rudder post coming down here. A lot of people were using stainless steel, which was heavier. And so, and along the line of trying to cut down on weight where they could, they went to aluminum with that. And the only problem with that was when they put the braces on it to come back here to stabilize the whole piece, they had to be mechanically fastened. She's got a nice feathering prop on there. It's 2-blade. And good size.
This is a pretty low profile from a hydrodynamic standpoint.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, look at that. I mean, it's really, when this thing turns like that, there's nothing going to hit it. I mean, no water's going to stop on this. It's going to shoot right by. It's got a fresh zinc on there. We like to see that. These props work very well when you go into reverse, too, because they really become a kind of a true propeller. What do you say we take a look topside?
Yeah, let's go do it.
We love the subscribers.
Yeah, more subscribers means that we're going to get recommended to more people, and so that helps spread the love and spread the word about old classic boats and what we're doing, so every little bit helps.
Thanks again. Randy, come on up.
Thanks.
Oh, hey, listen, unfortunately today, our production man left the operating hats at home. Our hats are from a company called
Total Boat.
Total Boat, you got it. I will say that Total Boat does have air-rated hats, and maybe today it's not such a bad idea.
It looks pretty sharp.
Anyway, we're sitting here in a really big cockpit, really a comfy cockpit. I'm sitting alongside, too, a trio of winches from Lumar and Variant and so forth. These are 3-speed winches right here, and you can tell they're 3-speed because there's a little button down here that you push and trigger. I do like these settees, I do like that. And there's a little window here on each side, and we're going to find out that there's an after cabin on this. Here we are behind a nice Edson pedestal with, ooh, we got a good old Danforth compass on here, and we don't see those much anymore. Let me get the special, ooh, there we go, look at that. What we do have is a navigation table below that's going to have some of your key stuff. There is a bevy of Raymarine instruments right here behind and convenient to the helm, and it's the standard systems. So you're going to have apparent wind speed, apparent wind direction, and I believe he's repeated them on both sides because when you're racing the boat, you're going to sit down here and you're going to look at your little Raymarine instrument down here, and it's going to tell you whether or not you're going to go higher or lower. It'll tell you how fast you're going here, and then probably how deep the water is someplace. Well, that's the depth right there. Oh, and here we've got his autopilot. Here we have a hydraulic backstay adjuster right here, and it's all one big cylinder. Over in the corners, you'll see that the cheek blocks, or the fiddle blocks rather, for spinnaker. Forward here we have Genoa blocks right here, and they even have a keeper level on it, so you can change sheets on here.
How big are jibs on here?
They are pretty big on this boat. We're dealing with a J dimension of about 19 feet. This was built back in the days when they were sort of having J wars. Earlier designs had a much smaller 4 triangle, and so when they wanted to get as much power out of the boat, the trick back then was to, instead of having 150% Genoa, they go to 180%. But if you went to 180%, you were penalized. So when they came up with the new formula, they said we can just go with 150% and it's going to look like 180% Genoa. We have a nice helmsman seat here, rounded, so whatever tack you're on, the helmsman's going to be sitting up pretty high. And there is a wheel that comes with this boat. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's here. And 2 lockers. We have 2 little propane lockers, and it's all padded up in there. We got a couple small lockers here on the other side of the cockpit here. And there's a nice dock line locker, and I think we have the same thing on this side. And here's a whole list of racing signals in case you want to know what signal has been hoisted by the race committee.
Any concerns about not having a regular companionway here?
This is a race boat. If you had a companionway there, it would get in the way.
Have you ever heard of a boat that they would put in a companionway after the fact to make it a little more comfortable?
I have.
Really?
Really.
And?
I can't talk about it. All the heavy-duty controls are right here in your face. Here's the main sheet. Here's the traveler, so you can handle that right here in the cockpit. Everything can be done in the cockpit, with the exception of some things up by the mast. So why don't we take a walk up that direction? What do you say?
Yeah, let's go check out Foredeck.
Boat's covered with teak.
Love it.
We do love it, but so often we find weeping bungs. I don't know if this deck has been replaced, okay? But it doesn't matter if it's been replaced or not, because right now I'd put it pretty close to perfect. We've got a nice windlass for you up here.
Or a capstan.
Or a capstan. I was thinking she didn't have a roller furling headstay. I thought they would still have the old double headstay that they just used for racing, because I don't think Jack would have used a roller furler going offshore, not in his day.
No, he's old school.
A nice sturdy bow pulpit. And you know what's up there? See that little seat? That's for a bowman to sit up there and handle and switch lines when they're jibing a spinnaker or hauling up or down a sail.
Yep.
Gives them a place to actually sit. Nice cleats down here with a little cleat snagger preventer, I'll call it. I don't know what I should call it.
Yeah.
But
We haven't seen that before.
So she's set up for a cutter rig here, and here's just an easy, simple release, and you can take this whole thing back to the mast. We have a hood baby stay crank right here, and this will pull the forward part of the mast. You see where it goes right up to that lower spreader? So if you're on the seaway, this big spar is going to try and maybe surge, and this will steady it down. This has got a chain drive variant spinnaker pole lifter. Again, we had this on the PB. You put a handle in there, and this whole thing is right on a hard chain drive, and you can move this end of the spinnaker pole up and down at will with the power that you get out of that simple mechanism. It's a great deal.
Do you have to keep the chain pretty well lubed consistently?
No, I mean,
I would think it would get a lot of salt water in there, no?
Yeah, but it's not moving a lot.
Okay.
Right beside you is the boom down here. The spinnaker pole is longer than the boom at this end, and it's longer than the boom at the other end. Wow. So it gives you a sense of the size of the J dimension. The main halyard is over here on wire, right down there. And that's what they call a wire rope splice. You see it comes down here, and then it's spliced into this piece of line right here. And so when you're winching it, you've got the line on here, not just the wire. Another thing they have here too that we liked, again on the PB, was bat cars. But these are made by Harkin, and they have a little pin here, and on the sail there's a mating piece for it that attaches to the end of your mainsail. And so these are all on ball bearings, so they slide up and down really easily. It's not just like a metal on metal thing. There's roller bearings inside each one of those. What's this going to be used for?
Cunningham?
Whoa! Whoa! Awesome. The Cunningham comes up here and comes through a kringle in the sail. And the idea behind that was that in the older days when they made sails out of cotton, they would cut the sail a little short because they wanted to be able to stretch the sail. When you hoisted it up, it went all the way to the top and stopped. You put a Cunningham in it, and then you pull that mainsail down with a Cunningham, stretch it down, and the draft in the sail would move forward, and you'd be in shape. And you wouldn't have given away anything in the way of sail area just to build the sail.
Yeah.
So
kind of flattens the sail in a general
And
way.
you know who that was designed by originally?
Richie Cunningham?
No, but close. Briggs Cunningham.
Ah.
And Briggs Cunningham was a racing car driver here in Connecticut, I think somewhere, but most importantly known for having been the skipper of Columbia in the 1958 defense of the America's Cup.
Oh, the first one back.
Which he won, right.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. It's just a lot of cool things that go with these older boats and older history and stuff.
One small thing that's freaking me out a little bit.
Uh-oh.
The height of the lifelines.
Are they low?
They're low.
Let's see. This is sort of like old-time standard. Not bad.
Maybe just because we're up a little bit higher.
We have a number of dorades, 2 right beside your knee there, 2 wind vents, and 2 back here that are in the process of being cleaned up and polished. I'm kind of hot in the sun. What do you say we go below?
Time to go in the hole?
Hey Randy, wait till you see this. Come on down.
All right.
I just pulled up a couple of floorboards down here, and what I'm guessing here is there may have been some oil leakage because this black material there, you see, this all moves, it all comes off. This stuff it's not painted on. It's got a nice clean bilge actually.
Oh, that's just a quick rinse job.
And this is a rinse job. This is an undoes it special right here. I love cleaning this stuff up. It's the best fun part about finding an older boat is coming in and looking at something like that, which might discourage somebody else. But I'd get in there even before it undoes it with some chlorine bleach and a hose.
Maybe a little degreaser in there or something?
The standard back then was just good old dishwashing soap.
Like Dawn or something?
Dawn, I think, was one of the best degreasers, actually. Yeah. We're seeing the back end behind us here of the V-drive for this puppy. I want to know more about that because this V-drive is here. That engine is way back in the after cabin.
Oh.
Let's examine that in a few minutes, okay? I'll close this up. This boat was built in 1975. She's 46 feet overall. It's got about 13 and a half foot beam, and she weighs 27,000 pounds. Now, I tell you that in particular because her waterline is about the same, maybe slightly longer than the PB. The flotation of this boat carrying 27,000 pounds is remarkable because on the PB we carried 35,000 pounds. So we're in the main salon for all those who would like to have either one. A little unusual in that we don't have a galley table here. I don't think that was a big concern for the racers back then. They'd come back or they'd probably eat up on deck, sitting on the rail maybe, beating to windward, and then come down here and flop into one of these really nice wide sea berths. And they've got leak cloths underneath each one. And of course we always have storage lockers behind that. These are voluminous. Look at they're going to be the size of the pilot berth. This mast is a little impressive because it's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a solid, amazing spar. But again, look at all the nice mahogany woodwork down here. The Finns love their mahogany below decks. There are big storage areas outboard of each pilot berth, and look up above that pilot berth and you see nice storage for screens. We've got handholds every place in the boat because this boat's going to go offshore. Look at the handholds that run full length on both sides, and which is great. I love that. And the storage cabinetry, of course, being Jack's boat, there would be room to have a couple of bottles in there for after the race. Really nice big helmsman seat here. I'm not going to get in it because this is the bottom of this, the top of the seat has been taken out. Got single sideband, different meters for your voltages, a nice circuit panel here. All of your instruments are going to sit up high here on this nice little shelf. Well, this is very nice. This is a really handy compass to have for the navigator. It's all flush. You won't find one of these very far. Cool. That's kind of cool. Now let's check the... Oh dear.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, galley.
Double sink here. This is the first time we've seen this. And we've got a shallow sink and a deep sink. And there's a separate foot pedal for your seawater. I think this is probably a seawater pump. A nice big 4-burner stove, propane. And let's see if this puppy's going to open for us. A little lock here. Oh, I think that's been cooked in. Lots of storage. Sometimes the problem with these storages like this is that they're over your cooking area, so you've got to reach over hot pans, but you can't always fight that. This boat has been, as we say, ridden hard, and it's been exposed to salt water, and that's what you're getting, but it's not a problem. This is a engine-driven refrigeration system. That means it runs off a compressor that's attached to the engine, just like your air conditioning unit in the old cars. There we go. Oh, look at that. A little cutting board designed to cut up your lemons and your limes right there. I have more storage here for you. Glassware and stuff up high. And, there's always room on every boat for our friend. This is your wet locker. I'll get it out of the way for you. Okay. There's hooks up here to hang your foul weather gear. Now, come on back here, Randy, to the owner's cabin. I'm going to call this the owner's cabin. It's pretty cozy. You got 2 opening ports for ventilation here. A couple nice little settees. Place to put a drink of your night water. That's a screen for the window.
Yeah.
How clever is that, huh? So you can take that out, lift this up, and then put it right in the window here. It's all in pretty good shape. This back here needs some oiling and touch up to it. It's got interesting little catches there that come up very easily. So that's the captain's hanging locker. We have hidden here a little lift up piece, little latch right there, and we have the engine. This is a Westerbeek 4108 50 horsepower diesel engine. We're trying to figure out what that thing was up forward, and this doesn't answer the question. Oh, wait a minute. I got it. That's a hydraulic V drive up there. You can't fit it in here, so they ran it up to the V drive, and they get that spinning, which will then drive the shaft.
So the hydraulic pressure is driving the drive shaft.
Right here. This is a hydraulic pump right here. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Randy. Yeah, come on in, pal. Not the biggest head, not the smallest. When the door's shut, you've got a nice big floor pan here to stand in and do your showering. And they've made no provision for a curtain in here, so they just wiped everything down when they were finished. They found it to be a good place to store this table, which I believe goes into the cockpit. And you'll see a molded-in sink. And everything's just a little bit on the grungy side right now.
I like this patina on this hopper. That's pretty.
Now forward here, the original design called out for, well, a couple of things. One, they had twin settees up here. This arrangement here has to do with giving the owner a nice big queen-size bunk there, you see? And I'm not going to take it all apart, but it's pretty well braced up below to carry this, and there's also availability to get underneath it for storage. This was a working sail room in there. And if you look around, you'll see where, you know, salt water has gotten to the finish on a few places, but nothing's deteriorated. We just lost a little varnish. Plus, underneath there would be bins for multiple bags of sails to be lined up on either side. Now forward here, you have room for even more sails and a giant anchor locker forward of that. Notice the floor here too. You know why that's built that way?
Yeah, if you're going to dump all your wet sails in here, you want that to drain out, right?
Exactly. They all come down there and they're filled with water, it's raining, whatever, and rather than have it run through the boat, it just goes right down here, drains into the bilge. You think I should check this out?
I think you should.
This looks pretty darn comfortable. I just got to figure out how to scoop myself up here. Ooh.
I guess you don't really need that blanket today.
Oh, I don't. But I'll tell you, I'm going to scoop myself way over to the side here. There we go. Yeah, and you know what? I got a pillow today. And I got it myself. I didn't have to wait for you. And I think I'm finished for the day on this 1975 Baltic. Beautifully executed, well used, strong, fast racing boat. Thanks, pal.
We'll
Call me when you're finished.
Yeah, have a good siesta.
Oh, Randy.
Yeah.
We have another wrap up here, and you know, often we compare these boats to cars, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, I want to compare what we just saw to horsepower.
Okay.
Remember Secretariat?
Barely.
Well, she was wicked fast, won a lot of races, and then finally put out to stud, and I don't know, she could still be alive for all I know. Horses have a way of living a long time.
She'd be 106.
Okay, it could be 106. That's kind of what we saw today. We saw an incredible race boat with a great track record behind her. Boat called Mary Thought, owned by an old friend, a man named Jack King, who has crossed the bar himself, but left in his wake a lot of friends, a lot of good times, and no small number of trophies with this particular boat. I frankly would love to win a little lottery and fix it all up again and go back out to sea, because I think the boat's fast and beautifully set up. Anyway, super duper boat. She's getting a 10 because she floats. I'm giving it a 10 because she used to belong to Jack King, and he was a heck of a nice guy. I'm going to give it another 10 because I'd love to take it and go racing. And I'm going to give it another 10 just because it's a cool boat. But I'm going to subtract 5 because we got to put some work into this boat and a little bit of money. Not too much, but a little bit, just depending on how much you want to fiddle around with it. So 35 points, merry thought, go racing, take the family cruising, and have a great time, and know that you and Secretariat will be breathing the same air. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when the next one comes out, please hit the alert bell. And that's not desperate at all. Randy, how would I ever find out what's coming up next?
You can follow us on Instagram here,
Yeah.
or Facebook here. We'll have little previews of what's coming up on our next episodes. A little bit early.
That's pretty cool. Previews. You all join me. I'm going to Instagram right now, and I'm going to find out what's coming up next week. Thank you very much.
You know, Instagram's not a place.